What's up, Battlefielders? Zoop here with a little Hardline gameplay. Why? Because I actually miss it, and I'm looking forward to its release. We've got part 2 of my 3-part beer review today, but first, I want to talk a little bit about making the jump from console to PC, and whether it's right for you. For me, the switch was hastened by the Xbox One. Well over half a year after purchase, the Xbox had underwhelmed me, being plagued by a severe lack of games and 720p resolution. Not only that, I got sick of the Kinect thinking my cat's tail is a hand every time she jumps on the couch. I was late to the Breaking Bad hysteria, so my wife and I binge-watched as a result. We actually had a key moment ruined by Jasmine, our morbidly obese cat, as her tail caused the Xbox Kinect play controls to jump forward, ruining a pivotal moment in the last season. The Kinect is supposedly sensitive enough to feel human heartbeats, yet it can't tell the difference between a human hand and a cat's rear end. Thanks, Microsoft. Another annoyance, though comical at times, is watching my wife attempt to turn on the Xbox by voice command to no avail. You can only listen to someone scream, "Xbox on!" so many times before you just have to walk over and do it yourself. The Xbox went the way of eBay about a month ago. I doubt I'll give the PS4 a try, though it looks like a good system. A lot of you might be on the fence as to whether or not you want to join the so-called master race. I was dead set on sticking to console for the longest time. I couldn't stand the perceived elitism of the PC players. I would later discover this is a false perception. Us console fanboys can be pretty abrasive as well. It's not just PC players. For me, with the switch to PC, I was really just going back to my roots. I've been a PC gamer since the days of Doom. Yep, that's 1993 to show you my age. Actually, I had a Commodore 64 before that even. The first true online multiplayer game I played was Command & Conquer Soul Survivor. Anyone remember that one? Anyone? No, I didn't think so. When I got to college, we had LAN set up connecting the rooms in my fraternity. That's when I discovered Counter-Strike, and from there Battlefield 1942. It was a great time to be a PC gamer. I still had a PS2 at the time, and was the first to crack 1 million points in SSX Tricky in my house. That was a hell of a game. It wasn't long into my 7-year college tenure that the original Xbox was introduced, but I stayed away. I drifted away from PCs after college though. The 360 was released and I never looked back at PC gaming. It wasn't until my wife's and my own laptop started to die that she brought up the idea of buying a PC. Me, being the hands-on type, decided, why not build one? This offered a front from my master plan. Build a computer my wife can use, but one I can use for gaming. And here I am. I am part of the master race, though probably in its lower echelons. But how about gaming on the PC? Well, the transition of being a PC gamer was rough at first. I started on the Hardline beta right when it came out and got owned for a while. I was cursing the keyboard left and right. Battlefield 4 has been humbling at times as well. At first, I desperately wanted to use my Xbox controller when I started on the PC, but others advised against it. They were right to persuade me not to. After a short time, I learned the mouse and keyboard, in many ways, are far superior to a controller. I think that is one of the biggest detractors console gamers try to use against PC gamers. Somehow using a mouse is easier, or cheating even. I disagree though, because the consoles have aim assist. They both have their pros and cons. The keyboard is not all roses. I found this out the hard way in Gloves for Tags as a military veteran guest stabby the first day I had BF4 loaded on my PC. I got lucky on one frontal knife assault, looked down and miraculously found the F key for a counter knife. It was pure luck. I've had trouble crouching and switching weapons. The G key is an odd place for such an often used task as throwing grenades, but I binded a button on my mouse to help with that. And that's the nice thing about the PC. You can customize all the controls to your liking. My controller had it all right there though. Easy to reach. And flying helicopters was so much easier with the controller. There are definite trade-offs. In time, I'm sure it'll all be second nature, but if you make the switch, be ready to look stupid for a while. Nothing like trying to revive a teammate only to pull out some other random object instead of the defibs. In Hardline, I tased someone from behind with the intention of knifing him. Instead, I threw a gas grenade at him and settled for shooting him in the back. Graphically, even on my modest setup of an AMD FX 8350 paired with an EVGA GTX 760, BF4 looks and runs better than it did on my Xbox. That goes for Titanfall as well. Even on high and ultra settings, they look much better than their console counterparts and have much higher frame rates. It really shows that in my opinion, this generation of consoles was not the next generation. It was just catching up to PCs. If you're thinking of making the jump, do it. It's worth it. And don't use that controller. Trust me. The keyboard, or at least the mouse, is far superior. And don't be afraid to build your computer. It's easier than it looks, and there are great people on Twitter and YouTube that can help you out. I built mine and it was fairly simple. I kept costs to about $1,100, and it runs everything I throw at it. It's the fastest PC I've ever used. And if you decide to stick with consoles, game on, my friend. There's no wrong answer in gaming, just what works best for you. The best gaming platform is the one you use the most and brings you the most enjoyment. I love consoles as well, and I have nothing against them. One last word. DICE, EA, I might as well open a bar tab with you. I bought BF4 for the 360, then the Xbox One, and finally the PC. I feel almost stupid having shelled out that much for the game. Granted, I traded the first one in and sold the Xbox version along with the console. I still feel like I'm suffering from some sort of delirium having owned that many versions. I must be drunk. Speaking of which, today's beer review is the second of a three-part face-off between two of the great IPAs in the world, Russian River's Pliny the Elder and the Alchemist's Heady Topper. Today, we will look at Heady Topper, which according to Beer Advocate is the #1 beer in the world. From the Alchemist's website, we love hops. That's why our flagship double IPA Heady Topper is packed full of them. Heady Topper was designed to showcase the complex flavors and aromas that these flowers produce. The Alchemist has been brewing Heady Topper since 2003. This double IPA is not intended to be the strongest or the most bitter DIPA. It is brewed to give you wave after wave of hop flavor without any astringent bitterness. We brew Heady Topper with a proprietary blend of 6 hops, each imparting its own unique flavor and aroma. Take a big sip of Heady and see what hop flavors you can pick out. Orange, tropical fruit, pink grapefruit, pine, spice. There's just enough malt to give this beer some backbone, but not enough to take the hops away from the center stage. First off, Heady Topper is meant to be drank straight from the can. It says so, right on the can. I'm breaking this rule for the purpose of this video, but the rest of my haul I did indeed drink from the can. The smell of the hops in this Waterbury Vermont beer is intense. It packs a punch. I dare say it is the hoppiest and best smelling IPA I've ever had. It is immediately noticeable right when you crack open a can. The taste is intense. There is no slow build-up of complex flavors. Heady Topper is bold and in your face. It is almost a sensory overload, as if thousands of hops have exploded within your mouth. Your palate is immediately hit by citrus, which then boldly shifts to a nice piney taste. Definite notes of grapefruit, in addition to a cacophony of other fruits too numerous to decipher. It's like the Skittles of the beer world. If there was a rainbow you could taste, Heady Topper would be it. I thoroughly enjoyed this beer. It was worth the trouble to get. Again, I was lucky to have a friend in Vermont mail me some. This beer is exceedingly hard to get even within Vermont, and nigh impossible in any other state. It is more of a legend at this point. I'm withholding my overall review of Heady Topper. I don't want it to influence my final thoughts, which I'll reveal in part 3 of this 3-part review. Zoup's going camping next week. I need a break from work and life. I may have part 3 next Wednesday. If not, stay tuned 2 Wednesdays from now for the epic, and more than likely anticlimactic, ending to the battle of these two heavyweights. Peace out, beer lovers. See you on the battlefield.